Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another cool arcade game repair video for you this evening. So I've got all these machines here, and I kind of just come in each day and kind of decide which one I'm going to work on. I've got even a lot more than this in storage, but I'm starting to think I've got more projects than I'm ever going to be able to finish. But we're going to keep going at it. Got stuff everywhere. All these are broke. I've looked them all over. I've examined each one, and they're all broke. We'll talk about each one, I guess. I know everybody's curious. So this is a Major League pitching bat. We've done a couple of these on the channel, but this is kind of going to be a big project. I've got to repaint everything. The paint's pretty rough on it. I just bought this years ago. I got a good deal on it, so I bought it. Just kind of been hanging on to it. I'm going to get to it one of these days. I got a brand new back glass in the back for it. See where that one's in pretty bad shape. I've got a Super GT. Again, this is a big project. A lot of these over here are long-term projects, you know, stuff I'm going to get to one of these days. I bought this from a customer of ours. He claims it works. Come on now. Come on now. But again, I haven't even plugged it in. It may work and just need a ton of cosmetic stuff. It's got a lot of, looks like it's got a lot of issues to me. He's put new LCD screens in it though. Again, I got a good deal on it, so I had to buy it. I'm just kind of sitting on it, and I'll pop up with it one day and everybody's gonna be like, wow, he finally finished that Sega Super GT. He's been sitting around forever. Next, we have Allies Street Burners. This is a golden oldie here. So I bought this game years ago also. Funny story with this one. Well, you may not think it's that funny, but guy calls me. He says he's got two arcade games. One of them's a Star Wars, and he didn't say much about the other one. And I'm thinking, yeah, right, you know, whatever. And he said we agreed on a price, and the price was like really cheap. But remember, one of them was a original Star Wars arcade game. So I'm thinking, okay, yeah, that'll work. And we set up time to go get them. I got down there. It was about an hour away, so I was kind of rolling the dice. I was hoping he would actually have a Star Wars when I got there. And sure enough, he had a Star Wars, the original one, with the ampliphone monitor and everything in it. So I got a really good deal on it, and this was sitting next to it. I've already fixed and sold the Star Wars, but one of these days we'll get to that too. But again, it's just these games like this, especially Allied Leisure, those really old ones like that, they're pretty tough to work on, but one of these days we'll get to it. Next we have a Space Invaders Deluxe. this I'm sure we could fix very easily, but I've already actually got a Space Invaders Deluxe on the other side for sale. And whenever I sell my other Space Invaders Deluxe, then I'll come over and I'll get this one ready. But it's in pretty good shape. Control panel's pretty nice on it. Bezel's really nice. Then we have a freaking pole position. I love to play a pole position. It's a fun game. But to keep a pole position working is almost impossible. So then they came out with that pie position board. And I'm thinking, well, if I can finally get my pole position working. So I bought the pie position board. I put it in. Did all the stuff. Did all the cosmetics. You know, I cleaned everything up. Dolled everything up real nice. Put a nice monitor in there. Thought it was ready to go. And the dang thing will work for about 10 minutes. And then it'll start resetting. All the voltages are good. I've tried a different pie position. I've tried reburning the file for the pie position. And, you know, of course, I'm the only person in the world that has this problem. Everybody else says, oh, yeah, mine works great, blah, 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 blah. But I'm not very impressed with the pie position. You're better off just leaving the original board in there and dealing with all the problems you have with the original board. In my opinion, the pie position's junk. I'm sorry. I'm just going to tell you, it's junk. I mean, be mad at me if you want to be, but that pie position's a piece of junk. I will never buy another one, and I'm very disappointed in the whole thing. And now we've got Janet's jukebox. I bought this from, you guessed it, Janet and her husband. She was downsizing, wanted to sell me this jukebox, so I bought it. It kind of sort of works, but it needs to be gone through. It needs to be checked out. It's got this weird thing going on where you have to hit the numbers before the letters. And you're supposed to hit the letters and then the numbers. And I think it'll play the A side of the record, but it won't play the B side. It's probably a pretty minor thing, but we just haven't got to it yet. Then over there we have some kind of Dreamboat coin pusher. It probably wouldn't be too big of a deal to get that going either, but I just haven't felt like messing with it. Then we've got a PGA Tour Golf by Global VR. It's got a computer inside there, and they're just a nightmare to keep going. Any game with a computer in it is just a pain to keep running. That's just all there is to it. So I usually stay away from them, but I get one every once in a while. You know, you buy 5 or 6 games and it's kind of in the lot and you think you can get it going. I had that one going and monitor died on me. I ordered another monitor board. I mean a computer board. Computer died in it. Ordered another computer board and it worked for maybe a month. Something happened then. I got pissed off and I pushed it back over here. But it's got a good monitor in it. I'm going to maybe do something with it one day. I might turn it into a Golden Tee. They're a little bit more reliable. Then next to that, I've got a just an empty cabinet. It's got a good Street Fighter layout though, so I'll probably turn that into something. And then I've got my Sprint here. This works good too, and we did a video of this and got the steering and all working good. It works pretty good, but after about 30 minutes it'll start kind of glitching out. If you let it cool down, it'll play again for another 30 minutes. Just one of those things that's not quite ready to sell yet. I can't sell it that way. I've got to try to figure out what that issue is. Then I got a bunch of old jukeboxes. I buy these jukeboxes. I always say I'm never going to buy another jukebox. But then I get another good deal on it, and then I just add it to the collection, and I keep buying them and buying them and buying them. I get them so cheap, you know, I just can't not buy them. So I keep piling them in here. I fix one or two every now and then, but I seem to buy more than I sell or fix. So I just keep buying them, but they just look so cool, I have to keep buying them. I'll be somewhere, you know, and I'll be buying some arcade games, and I'll just happen to see the jukebox, and it looks like a pretty good deal, so I'll buy that too. I actually just got these two here. I really like these. Haven't messed with these too much, but I'm going to fix these pretty soon, actually. They're coming up. And then this Cheyenne has been nothing but a pain in my side. We agreed to fix this for somebody, but it's an Exidy game, and those things are just so hard to work on. We ended up sending the board out to somebody else finally last week, and we're hoping to get it done pretty soon. But we're trying to put the multi-kit in that so it'll play several games on it. So it should be pretty fun when we get it done. Then we got a Solar Fox over there. That's not ours. We're working on that for Mike. It's just got a few minor things wrong with it too. We just haven't got to it yet. There's only two of us here. We got more work than we can do. But I'll get that going soon. That won't be too big of a deal. Then I've got a Super Pac-Man over there. Same deal with it. I got a pretty good deal on it. It probably won't be too much trouble. I got more stuff over there. I don't know if you can see it. I got a Big Buck Hunter and an Arcade Legends over there. And some candy cranes next to the wall. The Buck Hunter, I need to get another board for. And the Arcade Legends, it's got a little weird problem with it too, but I've already got an Arcade Legends for sale, so I haven't messed with that. I don't, you know, if I've already got one ready to go, I just set the other one over here till I sell the first one, and then I'll get back to it. Then I've got a Tekken Tag. I'm going to work on it in the next week or so. I've got an Asteroids Deluxe I think we might mess with today. One of our viewers actually brought this down. And I like the way he does business. He just texted me one day. He said, "Hey, you going to be open next Saturday?" Nothing else. That's all he said. I wrote him back and said, "Yes, we'll be here from 11 to 8. He writes me back, "Okay, I've got an Asteroids Deluxe I'm going to bring you." And I write him back and said, "Okay, sounds good." And that's all there was to it. I never talked to him before. It was just, we had 2 text messages back and forth. And then he shows up with this thing, and it's in pretty good shape. He said he's had it for 28 years, and he claims it works. It worked before he put it in his car to drive it down here anyway. But we settled on a price, a very fair price, plus a couple t-shirts and some stickers and stuff that we got. So we're going to get that out of there and work on that probably today. I've got a Sega Hang-On. It's a Sega. I'm just not a fan of Sega. But again, I got it with some other stuff. But I got a customer that wants me to get this ready. I've got that Smarty Pie board I'm putting in this one. So it'll play Hang On and Super Hang On and a few other games. I've got another empty black cabinet there. I'm going to just put something in. And this one, you can't see, but this is actually like a Pong clone. Want to get that going pretty soon. Is that paddle battle? I've got a Bad Dudes. Haven't messed with it yet, but I've got another Bad Dudes for sale. So once I sell the other one, I'll fix that one. Same thing with the Neo Geo. I've got a Galaga hiding over there and a Pac-Man. I've got both of those already, so once I get those going, once I sell those, I'll fix those. This is kind of more of my long-term stuff. Ronnie really likes these old EM machines, so we buy them and we get them going eventually. You got to kind of be in the right mood to mess with them, though. We got a Chicago Coins sharpshooter. We've got a Midway trophy gun. We got a Bally Miss Universe bingo machine. Those things are so heavy. It's like they're 3 or 4. Well, they probably weigh about the same as 3 pinball machines. Those are called bingo machines. They just got a lot more going on. We typically don't buy bingo machines, but a lady down the street had that for sale, and it was literally within walking distance of our store here, and we got a really good price on it. We got a Super Mario pinball over there hiding, and a Funhouse pinball. Seems like the value of those just keep going up, so we just keep waiting. Again, they're going to be, the Mario probably wouldn't be too bad, but the Funhouse is going to need a lot of work. You got to take Rudy's face all apart and fix his eyeballs and all that stuff. Takes a long time to shop one of those out. It actually works, and the Super Mario Brothers works. We just got to get them both out and clean them all up. But we've had those sitting over there for years. They're buried, but the price just keeps going up on them, so we keep fixing all of our other stuff. Maybe this year we'll get them out. I doubt it, but you know, we'll act like we will. And then we got a Frankenstein and a Whirlwind hiding over there. And then we have, this is like another Pong clone. And then that's a Solar Quest Cinematronics game. The cabinet's in really bad shape, so I've got it hiding over there. I'm kind of hoping I can find a cabinet somewhere and then just move all the parts over. Then we have a Battle Zone. Again, the cabinet was in really bad shape on that one, and I've actually put a whole new side on it and rerouted the T-molding groove. And I've got side art and everything I'm going to put on that, but again, there's just so many hours in a day. Then we got Midway Joker Ball. This is a really old game. Ronnie likes this type of stuff. Kind of more of like an old school gambling machine. Then we got a bunch of shirts. If anybody wants to buy any shirts, we got sizes small to 3X. And you have to email us at lionsarcade@carolina.rr.com. Just let us know what size you want, but they're $25 plus $5 shipping. So $30 total. And we'll get you one mailed out. We got some change machines. We got a cool old Rockola jukebox. Guy traded me this for a PlayStation 3 console, if you can believe that. And he delivered it and everything down here. You know, obviously it needs some work. But I'd rather have this than a PlayStation 3, I think. I've got several PlayStations, you know, we get them all the time in our game store. So I got a pretty good deal on this. I've got this little piece that's missing and that piece. And another change machine down there. We got a cool old TV that we just used to keep our printer on. We got a couple of these little gambling machines here. More old jukeboxes. This one's from 1950, I think. And that's what it's supposed to look like, all cleaned up. Seaberg. Another AMI. We got this cool old picture we got. We were picking up some games. This is painted. And it's the Psycho House. We just thought it was really cool. I don't know how old it is, but it's hand painted on canvas. And then we got various back glasses kind of on our wall. That's a new old stock playfield from one of those bingo machines. Rastan, boomerang back glass. That's from a kick machine. It's an old 8-ball playfield. We've actually put some Christmas lights back behind that, so they'll chase and dance once we plug it in. Pole position, Map Mania, Rip Off, Tag Team Wrestling, Gran Torino, Breakout. Bunch of video game stuff we got to test and put out. But anyway, I thought some people might want to see all the projects that we got coming up. But today we're going to work on the Asteroids Deluxe. So we'll see what it'll do. All right. I got it dug out of there. Side art's in pretty good shape. Got a few stickers on there. Got a Sonic. Looks like the Dreamcast looking Sonic. Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Overall, it's in really nice shape. I took the back door off. Everything's pretty clean inside. It even still has the fuse covers. So, I've got it plugged in. I'm going to pull the interlock switch and see what happens. Maybe he's got it turned off down here. Well, interlock up front ain't on. A lot of the Ataris will actually have two interlock switches. There's supposed to be a little plate here that hits that when the door shuts, but this one's missing. So now I probably need to turn the switch back the other way. That sounds better. Lights on. We'll see if anybody's home. Some of these vectors take a while to get warmed up. Not seeing nothing yet though. Let's see if the start buttons will light up if I add some credits. Yep. Still nothing on the screen. Well, it's playing blind. Well, just like I thought, it's broke. Well, that doesn't really concern me too much because I've got to rebuild the monitor anyway. So either something, I guess something bounced around and didn't like it on the way down here, I guess. But I was actually going to take that monitor out anyway and put new capacitors in it, even if it did work. Because that's just something we do as preventative maintenance. So, I guess we got to get that monitor board out of there and start capping it. So I got the monitor chassis out. I'm going to change all these capacitors. I'm going to reflow all these connectors. I'm always telling everybody, you know, there's a big difference between a game that's still working and a game that's been gone through. You know, if things have been sitting around for 30 years and it's still working, you know, it's just a ticking time bomb at that point. You got to do some kind of maintenance to it. I'm not mad at the guy that sold it to me. I knew I had to work through it anyway. I'm just saying. Like, all these always get really bad solder. Like, look at that right there. Look at number 1. How much longer you think that had? That could be our main issue right there. But anyway, we like to work through them. We're going to reflow all those, change the capacitors. And we'll put it back in there and see what happens. Alright, so I got the high voltage unit out of there. Now I'm going to change all these capacitors. And if you're going to do this, you need one of these. It makes it a lot easier to get it in and out of the monitor frame anyway. Alright, I got everything back in the cabinet. Let's see if it wants to cooperate now. Came right up, so it must have been it. So it's working now, but it's still got a few little issues with the board because the explosion sound's not working and the thrust sound isn't working. So that's kind of what I was talking about, you know. A game that's still working and a game that's been gone through is totally different. So to most people this would be fine and fully working, but it's still got some minor issues. We've got to figure out that sound problem, so that's what we'll do next.
Alright folks, so here is the audio output, and most of the sounds are made by the Pokey. And so the Pokey does everything except the ship sound and the explosion sound, which just happen to be the two that we don't have. If you look down here, the explosion sound at one point comes from the noise, what they call noise. So signal, the noise signal. The noise signal is created right here, right, by these two chips. So it says R8 and P8 generate random noise. This noise is filtered by P11 and produces the rumble sound heard when the ship is thrusting. So not only does the noise make the explosion sound, but it also makes the ship sound, which is the rumble, right? So since they're both missing, if you check the output of this, pin 12, that one's dead and that one's dead. So if you look at these two chips that create the noise, the 12 kilohertz signal is there. Now this noise reset line is very tricky. It's high almost all the time. You know, it's like it's addicted to weed or something. It's high constantly. And see, the little circle means active when low. If you look at this with a logic probe, you're not going to see this move at all. But if you put an oscilloscope on it and dial that sucker way in, you'll see that whenever you start the game, this will go bloop and go down just for a second, right? So it's hard to see that signal. So that signal is there though, and the 12 kilohertz signal is there, right? Okay, the input to this R8 comes from N4, but this stuff is dependent on the output of these. I always thought that was weird, how they make these circuits where the output goes back in as the input, but they do, right? So I don't even know how that works, but like half of the circuits are like that, so it must work fine. But if you look, this pin 12 has no output. Neither does this one. But this one, you see the input comes from the output of this one. So if this one's bad, it would turn off that, and you wouldn't get any noise signal. If you don't have any noise signal, you won't get the ship sound, and you won't get the explosion sound. So we are going to swap R8 first.
All right, we got R8 swapped. We put it on free play too while we had the board out. Thrust sounds there. Explosion sounds there. Let's try it again. That's the thrust. Bam! There's the explosion. Doesn't that add a lot to the game? You can't have it without the thrust and the explosion sound. Alright, we're going to clean up this control panel. See how it's kind of dusty looking? These control panels are actually textured, so that dust actually gets down in there and you can't just wipe it off. So back in the day we'd have to use like a toothbrush and scrub it. But now they've got magic erasers. And these are the best things to use. Just regular Windex. It'll really brighten up all the colors. You don't really have to go crazy, just go to when you think it looks good. And you can kind of tell the difference already from this side to that side. I don't know if that's coming through on the camera. See how bright this is? And look over there. One of our viewers actually sent us a bunch of magic erasers. That was nice of him. I guess he saw us using them on. We use them on all the pinball machines and use them on all kinds of stuff. You'll clean up the buttons a little bit too if you want. So it would help if I moved you back where you can see. So you can see all the dirt getting into the sponge. What do you think? To me, I think it looks 10 times better. I don't know if it's coming through good on the camera or not. Yeah, everything's much brighter. The white's real nice and bright now. All the colors are brighter. Another thing you got to do on an Asteroids, about any game really, but Asteroids Deluxe has that mirror in there. And so we're going to have to take the bezel off, clean the monitor, and both sides of the mirror because they get really dirty. And it just doesn't show the background as good. Because nobody ever cleans the mirror, but you got to clean both sides of the mirror. And it'll make everything look a lot better. So, you got to unlatch the control panel. Well, this one's got the wing nuts, so that's going to take me a minute. It's got a wing nut there and a wing nut over there. So I'll get back with you in a minute. Alright, I got the control panel open. Then the bezel just sits in there. You can lift up on it. Pull that out. And you can get to, this is the front of the mirror. They're always real dirty. Then you got to clean this part. And then you actually got to lift this up. That's stapled in right now. But you got to take that all out, clean both sides of everything, and then clean the back of the mirror from the back side. And another thing we got to do is we got to change the black light bulb. This is the marquee, and there's a bulb behind there that's obviously working, but on the back side of that there's also a black light bulb, and it's not working. It's broke. And that's why we can't see much of this whenever the lights are off. That's all supposed to kind of illuminate and glow. So that's the next step. We're going to clean all that with just regular Windex and paper towels. And we're going to change the black light bulb and put it all back together. Alright, so I took the marquee off. Just three screws on the top. Take the bracket off. Pop the marquee out. And then you get to this point, and there was a screw there and a screw there. And you pull this out, the speaker and everything's back there too. One-handed. There we go. So there's the speaker. We got two starters, one for the front bulb and one for the back bulb. See if I can get this out. Bulb ain't doing nothing. It's glowing a little bit, but it ain't doing enough. We got to try to swap it. Change the bulb. That's how we want it. You want it like a lightsaber. Luke. Luke. I am your father. Apparently he doesn't say that. People get mad when I say that, but I'm saying that. That's what it sounds like he's saying, okay? See, I can see all those asteroids now. You see. You couldn't see none of that before. And I haven't even cleaned the mirror yet. So I'm hoping that's going to get a little bit better. But that adds a lot to it. That's next. Got to clean, clean, clean. See all that dust on the back of the mirror there? It's probably never been cleaned. So that should brighten everything up a lot.
All right, Joe's going to try to clean it. Oh, I can see him. Look, he's back there inside the machine. Oh, man. Look at that. He's wiping away the years. Well, that's incredible, Joe. Let's see how long his arms are. The top part's the hard part. It's like I'm in space. It's very three-dimensional. Now, if he leans on the glass too much, it will shatter and cut him very badly. Joe, in the comments, oh, here we are. Nate says, you missed a spot.
Yep.
Unbelievable, Nate. I can't believe you're always messing with us, Nate. Unbelievable. Joe, I notice you're using Windex.
I put that stuff on everything.
Everybody should go watch this movie that came out in the 90s called My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Did you see that, Joe?
Yep.
In the movie, the girl's father walks around everywhere he goes with a bottle of Windex. And he sprays it on everything. If you get a cut, a nick, he sprays Windex on it. That's Joey. He was in that movie. They didn't pay him. We're still angry.
All right, I got it all cleaned up. I think it's a pretty darn nice game. Got all the lights working. Control panel cleaned up pretty good. Got all the stickers off this side, if you remember. It had a bunch of stickers on it. It's a really solid shape. Don't really see all original like this too much anymore, and this clean. It's even got the coin door stickers on there still. But what do you think? You think we should play it a little bit? We'll set up the tripod, turn off the lights, and see what we can do. All right, I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. Obviously, I'm not any good, but just showing you that everything works. That was a close one. Well, that was awful. Well, look at that. I got the high score. Boy, I'm good. I was getting ready to say I stay in the middle and let them come to me, but it didn't really work out that time. I was a sitting duck. I'm getting worse. Ain't got time for that. I'm blaming it on the tripod. The tripod is right in the way. I should have quit when I was ahead. Game one. I meant to do that. Almost. That background looks pretty cool, don't it? With that black light. that's that. I think it turned out pretty nice. Well, I think that's pretty much going to do it for this one. We're going to set it over on the store side and let it run for a few days, and then we'll offer it up for sale. I'd like to thank everybody that's been watching, and thanks everyone that's been using our Amazon links. That really helps us out. Anything you buy on Amazon will give us a tip. After you click our link at the bottom of this video, you got to hit the more button in the description. And we also have some t-shirts for sale if anybody wants any of those. We got sizes small all the way up to 3X. I don't know if we've shown this one yet, but this is a new black one that we just got. But they're $25 and $5 shipping, so $30 total. If you want one of those, you can send us an email, lionsarcade@carolina.rr.com, and tell us what size you need, and we'll get one shipped out to you. We've got the black ones. We also still have some of the blue pinball ones that we've posted in another video. But anyway, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.